Are you struggling to sleep and not sure what to do? Well, today we have 8 tips for you to help you fall asleep faster and easier.
Now, we're actually going to show you 8 tricks that actually Bob has used, and we're going to talk about them a little bit, and we're going to fill in some of Mike and I. We have a couple of tricks of our own. We're going to add a little flavor in that way as well. So let's get going. Oh, I'm Brad.
I'm Mike, and behind the scenes we have Bob, and together we are the most famous physical therapy team on the internet.
In our opinion, of course,
And
Mike.
if you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Anyway, let's get to tip number 1.
That's right. Number 1, we're going to talk about mouth breathing. Actually, it's one of the things you'd like to avoid. You actually can start to snore that way. What else does mouth breathing contribute to?
It can lower your oxygen levels as well at night, or even sleep apnea if you have those issues. So trying to breathe through your nose is beneficial. Now, I've always been a nose breather, I guess. I didn't know this till I started reading about it, but Bob was not. So Bob tried something called mouth taping. They actually make specialized tape for this if you're really that into it, but you can simply take a piece of Scotch tape like Brad is going to show.
Right.
Here.
I used to, I would mouth breathe and my tongue would get so dry I'd wake up, it was like sandpaper. So one way to use tape with mouth breathing, we'll show you the way you should not do it, is look at this. We're not going to take a large piece of tape and actually close your mouth. You're going to take a small piece of tape like this, and I've actually used Scotch tape. You go here and here.
There you go, vertical just like that, but don't try to talk during it because you're supposed to
I can still breathe through my mouth, but it's uncomfortable.
Well, that's good. So it's going to force you to breathe through your nose more. That's just one thing you can try if you are a mouth breather.
I found it worked quite well, and when you get tired of it or you have to yawn, it just opens up and, you take it off. And
anyway,
continue.
let's get on to tip number 2 that Bob used, and I use this as well, is white noise.
Right.
So when you have white noise, oftentimes I can help people just focus on that. Me personally, that's what I do. When I hear background noises or anything else, I get distracted and my mind focuses on it for some reason. So oftentimes just a fan works for me.
Does your mouse, does your house have a lot of night noises that are a little uneasy?
Yeah, they're called my pets. They make a lot of noise. And I live near railroad tracks too, so that can be a little noisy. So white noise helps drown it out and makes me fall asleep easier.
There you go, and it's the same with me.
Now, tip number 3 is pillow positioning. I should just say optimal sleeping positions, because if you're uncomfortable, you're not going to sleep very well.
There you go. Let's start if you're on your sore shoulder.
A sore shoulder. I was just starting like this.
Okay,
we'll get to that.
That'll work. Back
So,
sleeping.
If you're a back sleeper, most of the time you only need one pillow. The density can vary depending upon your body size. But if you look when I have 2 pillows, look how my neck is. This is going to lead to neck pain in the mornings.
Yeah.
However, if you're a side sleeper, 2 pillows is optimal because your shoulder can relax here and feel better. If I only got one, it's a lot of pressure on my shoulder and my neck is all crunched up like this. Now, if you're really having shoulder pain in your side sleeper, you can try putting another pillow in here. This is what Bob likes to do. And you make a little canal for your shoulder, and you can change positions. You lay slightly back or over depending upon what feels best for your shoulder.
Yeah, I call it the Erie Canal method.
Are you going to the Erie Canal?
No, and if you have hip pain or knee pain, simply put a pillow between your knees. And actually, like this, I like to go all the way down to my ankle, so it keeps the ankles and the knees comfortably separated, pressure off the hip and back.
Yes, this feels a lot better. Now, if you're having back pain and you sleep on your back, sometimes you can try putting a couple pillows underneath you and getting a little support like this. This also works if maybe you have hip or knee pain as well. So just try this out and mess with your pillow positioning.
Yeah, pick up your leg once. Sometimes some people do well with that. So use what works best for your body.
However, I would take your shoes off.
Oh, yeah. Don't sleep with your shoes on. We forgot. Bob might, though. You never know what he's doing. The next is a big one. It's temperature, room temperature, and you want to keep it at what, 77?
60 to 67 degrees is optimal for most people to have a good night's sleep. Oftentimes, if you're overheating or too warm, it's harder to sleep. I just think about those hot summer nights before I had air conditioning as a kid. Not very fun.
That's right. There you go. And this is going to vary from person to person, but this is for most people.
Tip number 5 is avoiding stimulants too close to bed. And now these are things like caffeine and nicotine. So trying to cut off your caffeine, midway through the day is often more optimal for a lot of people because caffeine has what's called a half-life. So you can consume it at noon and it can still kind of be in your system till like 8 o'clock sometimes.
Yeah, that's amazing. We didn't say anything about alcohol.
Alcohol is a later one, but that's
people think it's okay. Oh, we're going to mention
it's not a stimulant.
No, it's our depressant. It makes you sleep better, doesn't it? We better get to that later.
We can. Tip number 6 that Bob likes to do is exposure to natural light. Now, what this can help with is setting your natural circadian rhythm. That's when the sun comes up and the sun goes down. You wake up with the sun. Now, I don't always go to bed with the sun because it gets dark at 5 o'clock right now. But this does get a little harder during winter to get outside. But sometimes just having natural exposure to sunlight can help with your sleeping.
That's right. And especially the people that live like way up in Alaska, they really have a problem.
Yeah, I don't know how they deal with that. Now, the next one is Brad's topic, so I'll let him take it away because it has to do with alcohol.
Yes. Well, when you're from Wisconsin, you're well acquainted with alcohol use because I think we're number 1 in the nation. I'm not bragging about that. But there are also heavy meals. Do not eat a big heavy meal, before you go to bed within a couple hours. Make sure it's 3 or 4 hours prior to the bed and then avoid those snacks, particularly those sugary snacks as well. Alcohol, you should do that at 5 or 6 and have a few hours at least, and only 1, maybe 2 if it's a light drink.
Now, I used to pass out pretty well back in the day with alcohol in a full belly, but
this is a family show.
I was of age. I would wake up and not get as good of sleep, and my stomach would be a mess. So,
there's no doubt about that. So what are we going to talk about? Also things that did not help Bob.
Yes, before we reveal number 8, we want to talk about what did not help Bob, and some of these things I've tried, and honestly, I didn't really notice much difference either. So the first one is limited screen time before bed. Now, that has to do with blue light coming from electronic devices. There's some studies saying it can keep people up and stimulate their brain. I don't really know if it's the blue light or just, they're entertained by what they're watching, but...
No, I think it's the blue light. It has to do with the...
circadian rhythm.
No, the other serotonin.
Serotonin,
which makes you more alert because it's from years gone by. But, they're talking about not only TVs, cell phones,
iPads,
laptops, iPads, all these electronic devices give you white or blue light exposure. So, make it a hard stop. 8 o'clock, you're done with that stuff.
I watch TV and fall asleep, so it doesn't really affect me, but it's just something to keep in mind. Something else that did not work for Bob is blue light blocking. So in a similar vein, some people have blue light blocking glasses. Some people have apps on their screens they put on. Some people swear by them and it works. And if it works for you, that's fine. These just didn't work for Bob or me, really.
Yeah, they're usually kind of orange colored, funky looking glasses.
Yeah, what's the next one?
Meditation.
So this actually worked well for Bob's daughter. However, Bob didn't find it useful for sleeping. I think meditation's fine, but I don't know if it puts me to sleep. Does it put you to sleep?
No. Reading a book puts me to sleep. It really does. In 10 pages, I'm typically falling asleep if I'm reading at that time of day.
And another common tip that Bob doesn't do is drinking chamomile tea or valerian tea, which his wife swears by, but Bob says he's not a tea drinker.
Yeah, everyone's body responds differently. I've done chamomile tea. I don't know. Tastes good. I don't know if it helped me go to sleep easier.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But we want to talk about Bob's most effective sleep trick next, which is what?
Ooh, this is the big one.
Sticking to a sleep schedule. I don't do this all the time. I'm kind of bad at it. But basically, even on the weekends, getting up the same time you do during weekdays and going to bed at the same time can really help for people that deal with insomnia or trouble sleeping.
It's the same with your kids. When they're 2, 3 years old, if you keep them on a schedule, life goes so much better. It's the same when you're an adult. It's just that we have other things going on.
But we don't want to. We're still unruly children on the inside.
Yeah, but once you get older, then you realize maybe we should get back to some real decent living.
Now, Bob wanted us to chime in with what helps for us. So I will personally say some of these I agree with. White noise really helps. Cool temperatures help for me. Avoiding stimulants, I avoid total how much caffeine I have total in the day, but I can still have it at 4 o'clock and fall asleep by 10:30.
Really?
That's just me, but I limit how much I take total in a day.
Right, and just you is a good way to put it. It's just,
and being active. I noticed if I'm active throughout the day, whatever it is, I sleep a lot better than if I'm sitting around watching TV all day.
There you go.
What are yours?
Well, absolutely activity. I need to get my exercise. Where am I looking? Over there. I need my exercise. My body is used to it. The other thing, the sleeping at night with white noise, definitely like the white noise. The temperature for me, I'm not so weird I'm not so good on the low temperature. Last night our house was at 72 degrees. Didn't bother me a bit. As a matter of fact, a lot of times I'll wake up in the middle of the night and then I feel a little chilly because I put my arm out. So let me show you what I use. And this is we did videos on this 5-10 years ago. I have one of these things, nice. And I put that around and that keeps my arms warm whether I'm inside. And then I actually put this over my head like I'm a monk. And I zip this baby up and then what I do is I go to the couch and I make sure my back is up against the back of the couch. And that support of my back makes me feel really good. Bob he said it's like
you're in the womb.
In the womb. Now in bed, instead of spooning with my wife, we do the opposite. It's a reverse spoon. So her back is here and my back is there. We're on our sides. And it's wonderful.
So you're forking? I don't know what that's called.
Yeah, it's a family show, Mike. But no, so this really is my go-to at night when I need to, in the wintertime, not in the summer.
There's one thing I forgot to mention is anywhere I go, I always sleep with an eye mask and earplugs. That just helps me, especially when traveling, because it's always dark.
Yeah, eye mask is a good idea. Yeah. I've never really used one.
Sometimes you wake up with lines on your face, but it's the price you pay for getting beauty rest. Anyway.
I forgot. I don't know why I didn't think of this, but I do. I use
eye mask?
Yeah, the eye massager.
Oh, the eye massager. But you can do that too. Anyway, if you want to check out more videos, the absolute worst way to sleep if you're 50 plus, you can click the video link on the screen.
50 plus.
Bob and Brad, the two most famous physical therapists on the internet.